Okay, it's 11 o'clock, so we're going to get started with the DryLink webinar on DryTAG, DryPHONE, and AirMAX BLE, as well as our latest item we're going to launch, which is DryMAX BLE. So we're adding Bluetooth capabilities to the DryMAX. I'll get started by telling you a little bit about myself. I've worked at Thermistor for 9 years, coming up on 10, much of that time with Phoenix. I'm currently the business unit leader. I've always loved technology and innovation, and this path has led me to DryLink. And I'm super excited about the progress we've been making on the whole ecosystem, and really excited to share this stuff with you. So before we get started, a few housekeeping items. The webinar is being recorded, and we will send out the recorded version to everyone that registered for the webinar. At the end of the webinar, we'll put my contact information up, and anybody that would like to contact me with any questions, that'll be just fine. And we have a chat box on the side where you can ask questions as we go along, and then at the end, I will answer those questions. And Jenny is with us in our marketing department. She's going to help me out at the end with questions. Okay, so just to quickly start by explaining, why did we make this Bluetooth ecosystem? First of all, when I first started in the industry, people were trying to do remote monitoring. They were using Wi-Fi. It's great for your house when you set something up and it's meant to be there permanently. But when you're moving around, it's expensive and cumbersome to use Wi-Fi. Bluetooth is what people use when they want portable networks, which is what we need to do in our industry. They're easy to use, and the data just flows where it needs to go. So that was a big aha moment for me in the development of this ecosystem. So I'd like to start with a few fun facts. First of all, Phoenix has logged well over 1 million hours of usage on the DryMAX XL in our cloud. Business Insider predicts that total business spending on IoT solutions will reach $6 trillion by next year. And our goal at Phoenix is to make the contractor's job simpler and more profitable. Okay, so for today's agenda, I want to show you the 3 new products. The original, and then we'll talk about the original products which have been out, which is the DryLink app, DryMAX XL, and the Drying Report. And then we'll get into how the new products add additional benefits to DryLink. And then I'm going to talk to you about the future of DryLink, which is quickly becoming a reality. Okay, so by the end of this webinar, you'll know the products in the ecosystem, you'll understand the value to the contractor, and you'll understand why the future for water damage is in connected products. Okay, so here are the newest additions that we have. We have the DryTAG, which is a Bluetooth beacon with a built-in accelerometer in it, which makes it different from other tracking beacons. We'll get into more details on that later. The AirMAX BLE is basically a DryTAG built onto the AirMAX, as you can see in the picture here, and that gives it additional functionality, which I'll talk to you about later. And then the DryPHONE. So the DryPHONE is interesting. What that allows is for constant communication between Bluetooth devices and the internet. So that allows for remote monitoring and notifications and things like that. So these are the newest additions which are out today and available today. Okay, so now I'm going to start talking about the existing products, and I want to start by showing you the drying report. So we're going to kind of begin with the end in mind. So I just wanted to, first of all, I'm just going to show you how to get to the drying report in our app. So if you're in our app and you go into any job, so this job is showing the Phoenix demo job. If you go, and then there's 3 tabs here, overview, equipment, and drying data. If you go into a job and you click on the drying data tab, you'll see the send records button. When you click on that, it'll give you a link that you can share by text or email. And then just another side note on the reports, if you go into the account settings and to your team, this says change logo. If you're going in for the first time, you could add a logo. So just wanted to make sure people knew that you could customize this report. So now I'm going to show you a drying report so you know what the end result is. And you can see we have the Phoenix logo. This one happened to be a Paul Davis Training Center drying job. They gave us permission to use this. So we have their logo up here. So you can enter the customer information in the app and it'll show up here. And then you have just different information about the drying job, start and end time, insurance information, job duration. And then you can easily switch between imperial and metric measurements. You can even do it after the fact. Then over here, you have buttons to click to either get the full report or a project summary. And then these are just navigational aids that'll take you between different parts of the report. So if I go down here and we look at this report, you can see we're in the project summary section, and we have these different chambers in our job. And going from left to right, you can see we have the loss type, so we have category and class. We have the wet square feet of floors, walls, and ceilings. And then we divide the wet square feet by the total square feet to give you the percentage wet. And then we have the volume information on each chamber. Then if we scroll down further, you can see we have these nice graphs. And you can click on the tabs to get different graphs. So this is showing the affected areas. And in the summary part of the report, these are all the different chambers. So we're giving you the GPP in the different chambers over time. If we click on moisture readings, so this would be moisture material levels. You can see, so this would be the different materials that are wet. You can see them going down over time. You get a white circle when it reaches the goal. And again, this is all the moisture material levels. And then if we click on this tab, we have the outside and unaffected area chart. So those are all the things we can click through. And then this is still on the summary page. This is all the different equipment types that were used on the job, the quantity, and the job days. So this is kind of a summation of what a bill would contain. Then you have the job notes that you can enter on here. And then we move into the project details by chamber. So I'll just show you one just so you can see what it looks like. So if we open up the living room, you can see we have the same information moving from left to right as we did in the job summary. But as we go down here, the error readings are, these tabs are a little different. Now we have the error readings, we have the inlet and 2 outlets for the different dehumidifiers. And you can see those trending down over time. If you go to moisture readings, you're going to see we have one reading in a plaster wall and one reading in a drywall. So you have these individually called out by chamber. If we scroll down further, you're going to see in this chart, you have all the individual readings that were taken in a table. So this would be the user's name. So somebody named themselves DryPHONE L, but it would be whoever took the reading would be here and the time and date and then what the readings were. So I just wanted to show you what the drying report looks like. Now, just to show you, this is what the PDF looks like. It's very similar. Obviously, the graphs are smaller because we can't just click through them, but this is the project summary. And if we scroll down, you can see all the same information. When we get down to the chamber detail, we actually have each piece of equipment by serial number and the job days that it was on the job. So that is what the report looks like. Oops. Mistake there. We'll get back to where we were. All right. Okay, so now what I want to do is to show you how you would create a job, add equipment to a job, and take your first daily readings. So we're going to show you in the app. So this is the home screen of the app, and you can see that it has jobs, equipment, settings, and alerts. So we're going to go into the jobs tab. And then in the lower right here, you can see there's a plus button, and that's consistent through the app. When you click on the plus, you can start typing in the job name. I'll call this one the Phoenix Demo. There's a field for description. It's optional. You can see in the address field, when you start typing, we use Google autocomplete, so it makes it easy to load in the address. The insurance information is optional. You can put in claim number if you want. And you can add contacts, you can add job notes, and I'm going to click on next chambers because we need to create at least one drying chamber so that we can take our daily readings. Okay, so we'll just call this one test 1 or test, and then we selected our category and class. We add our length, width, and height, and you can see that the program is going to auto calculate the rest of the information for us, including floors, walls, and ceilings. Now all we have to do is estimate the percentage wet, and it's going to calculate the wet square footage for us. Once we have all this information in, we can scroll down and see that we could add a chamber note at this point. If we had more chambers to add, we could do that, but for our purposes, we're just going to create one chamber, and we're just going to put some equipment in there. So now this has given us our job overview screen. And the next step we're going to do is, so we've created the job. So now we're going to click on the equipment tab, and we're going to go down to this plus button again, and now we're going to add some equipment. I'm going to show you the power of the smart equipment. You can see when you have smart equipment, these are showing that these are units nearby and their signal strength. So we figure you probably want the nearby equipment on the job. So it's already selected. You just have to tell it which chamber to put it in. So we only have one test. So we're going to click on assign to all, and then all this equipment is going to go in the test chamber. So at that point, all we need to do is click the finish button, and you'll see that all the equipment is transferred into our equipment list, and it all shows it's in the test chamber. So now that we have that done, the next step is to click on the drying data tab and click the plus button, and we can take our daily readings. And once we click that, you can see a date pops up. You can actually, with smart equipment, you can backdate the date of your readings. So if you couldn't get to a job on a certain date, you could go back in time and get those readings. But now I'm just going to accept the default here. You can see that it collects the outside readings. Obviously, this was done in February. It was much colder in Wisconsin at the time. We can click and add our unaffected. I'll talk about how we can automate unaffected in the future. But for now, we just type in 75 and 50 and click done. And then we go down here to our test chamber where we have our 2 dehumidifiers. And when we click into that, you can see that with smart equipment, that's how you take your readings. There's no more waiting 5 minutes or however long you wait to get your meter acclimated. You can just click a button and get your readings. Okay, so now that we have all of our readings, you can see that you can add an HVAC reading, you could add chamber notes, and there is a way to automate the HVAC reading as well. So now we have all of our air readings collected. So now I'm going to move on to the moisture readings. And again, we have our test chamber as our only chamber. So if we click into our test chamber, now we don't have our automated sensors out just yet, so we're going to add a manual moisture point. So I'm going to click add moisture point. I am going to add a couple of drywall moisture points. It gives you a drying target. You can set that as a default. So ours is 12. So I'm going to hit save and add another. So I got 2 of those. And then I'm going to put one into, instead of drywall, I'll say this is into wood. And I have a different drying target for the wood. And I'll hit save and add. So now I've added my moisture points. So I'm going to have to collect these readings. So I'm going to do them manually because I don't yet have a smart sensor to do that. But I will talk about how we will have smart sensors in the future. So I'm just going to add some values, and you can see it gives you a little progress bar showing you how your moisture level readings are coming along. And then once you type all that in, you have your moisture readings. You can click done, and you will have all of your readings. So that's how you collect your readings for the day. Now there's a graph feature up here. This just is some additional information you might want to look at. It gives you all the information on your dehumidifiers. Right here you can select which one you want to look at. But really, for purposes of what we're doing, we just want to look at all our readings. So we have all of our air readings collected, and we have all of our moisture readings. So it's really that easy. That's how you set up a job, put the equipment on the job and take your first daily reading. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the DryMAX XL. So as many of you know, it's the first data logging dehumidifier with Bluetooth. And as I mentioned, already 1 million hours of runtime in our cloud. Another great feature about it is you can fit 2 in the space of 1 compared to other extra large dehumidifiers. And it does have that XL performance, and it comes with the free DryLink app. So that's available today and part of the ecosystem. Okay, now I want to get into more specifics on the DryTAG. So it's, as I mentioned, is a Bluetooth beacon with a built-in accelerometer. And why that's important is because that accelerometer senses if your unit is on or off. So you can put it on anything with a motor and it's going to sense that vibration. And that is important because if a homeowner turns off equipment, you could be notified in real time so that you could either contact the homeowner or contact their insurance company to let them know that, hey, this job is going to take longer because your homeowner has turned off the equipment. It also will know when it was off so that you have a record of that in case there's a dispute about how long it was turned off. It also provides the last known location on a map. So that's for free. So you have some tracking functionalities built into your equipment for free with the DryTAG. It automatically records the usage because it knows how long it was on, and it knows if you type in the serial number, it knows the serial number, and it sends all that information to the drying report for you automatically. You can attach this to any brand of equipment, and there's no monthly usage fee. So the MSRP for the DryTAG is $49, and I know that from time to time we have specials going on, and there's definitely discounts for volume buys on the DryTAG. Okay, so this is just showing you, there's some alerts, and I'm going to walk through it in a video fashion, but you can get different alerts for equipment being turned off using the DryTAG. Here it shows if it's out of range, it gives you this map, and you can actually click on it and see where it last was when you connect it to it. And you can see that it should know the user. It says unknown here, but it would show whose phone it last connected to and when. So that's oh, and this is just showing on the report how it transfers over. So you can see that it would give you all this information. This would say it's an axial air mover, gives the Xactimate information, gives you the name of it, the serial number, and it was on the job for 6 job days. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to show you a video here. This is my colleague Larry Carlson showing just how easy it is to add a DryTAG to any piece of equipment. In this case, we're adding it to a Focus Axial. And you'll see that it's literally as easy as screwing in 2 screws. Now, we give you recommended locations to attach to any Phoenix equipment, and we also give you guidance on things to look for if you're attaching it to other brands of equipment. So it is literally that easy. Okay, now what I want to show you is that was how you attach it to a piece of equipment. Now let me show you how you would create that create a piece of equipment in our app and then associate it with a DryTAG. So once you do that, it will remain connected. And what I told you was that you could connect it to any piece of equipment, and I'm actually going to show that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into the equipment tab, and we're going to click the plus screen, and here you can see we have this option, add equipment. So we're going to click on add equipment, and since I said we could put it on any piece of equipment, we're going to call this the DE Velo 24. And well, let's see, we got to call this an air mover and a low profile, and we can put in the manufacturer and the model, and the serial number is quite important. And once we have all of this information, we could just click on the done, and we could hit save and add another, but we're just, if you want to add multiples, but we're just going to hit save and finish for now because we're just adding one. So it takes me to my company inventory. Now, I have a ton of inventory here, but I'm just going to show you, here it is, DE Velo 24. So it does exist in our inventory now. So now the only thing that we have to do is associate the DryTAG, which you can see, you get this blue bar down here when it finds a new DryTAG, and there's a pull tab to make sure you don't do a whole bunch at once. So here it is, this nearby one. Normally you just have one of these show up. So you just select, this is the one, and then we go back and we're going to associate it with the DE Velo 24, and we click OK, and now it's done. So it's really that easy to associate a piece of equipment with your DryTAG. Now, I'm going to talk about the AirMAX BLE. When it comes pre-installed at the factory, one thing you'll notice is instead of $49 MSRP, it's only an additional $26 at MSRP, and most people obviously don't pay MSRP, so you could get it for less than that. Now, here are the advantages you get when you buy it already included with the AirMAX. There's no setup in DryLink. So what happens is it's just like adding in one of our dehumidifiers. You would get a blue bar that pops up like the one we saw, and it would just say, hey, here's a new AirMAX BLE. Is this yours? And you say yes, and it'll already load all this information from our cloud because we scanned this tag and this AirMAX and put them together in our cloud. So the serial number will automatically load, and all the information will automatically load on this AirMAX, and you'll get all the additional benefits that I mentioned of the DryTAG, and again, with no monthly fees. So that's the AirMAX BLE. Here's what it looks like in an app. When it has a DryTAG on it, you get this banner here, again showing last used by me on this date. Here's the last known location. And all this information just loaded automatically. The type of equipment, it's low profile air mover, Xactimate code. You've got the manufacturer model, serial number. We've even got the UUID. It's just an identifier of the DryTAG. So it all automatically loads. Okay, now I want to move on to the DryPHONE. So the DryPHONE is really, when I first had the idea that this needed to be Bluetooth, that was one pivotal moment, but the DryPHONE was the other one, because people don't want to have to bring a router and set up, and try and get things on a network. So the beauty of the DryPHONE is it is a smartphone, but but it's not going to be used as a phone at all. Think of it like a hotspot. It's really just going to connect by Bluetooth to all your smart devices on the job and upload it to the cloud. That's its job. That's all it does. So if you get a DryPHONE, you can receive alerts in real time, and considering our current situation, you can reduce homeowner contact and PPE usage by, let's say, obviously you have to go to the job on day one, but maybe on day two or maybe on day three, you might not have to go to the job, and that might make a homeowner feel better because you could actually take your daily readings remotely. You can also prioritize your on-site visits based on remote monitoring. And what I mean by that is if you were remote monitoring all your jobs, you could be smarter about the way you deploy your personnel, because one job might be doing poorly and you might want to get there right away. But if you didn't know that, you would just have people going to jobs without that knowledge. Also, we have this Xactimate code for remote monitoring, which is 1 gateway and 10 sensors. This is our gateway. And here's the price. The DryPHONE is $349. Now that includes 1 year of data. So in year 2, if you want to re-up your data, it would be another $99. In Canada, the data is a little more expensive, so it's $399, and that includes 1 year of data. And in the second year, it would be $149 for an additional year of data. So that's the DryPHONE. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you how some of the alerts that the DryPHONE has. And so we've been working with the Phoenix demo job, so we're going to stick with that. And when we go in here on the DryPHONE, you see this job status alerts. So this comes only from the DryPHONE, these particular alerts. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click enable. So once I click enable, so it's going to give me a few warnings. Your DryPHONE has to be in range of the equipment. It's pretty good range. It should be good. I put it in my house, and on a 2-story house, and it covers the basement and everywhere. You have to connect it to a power source or the battery will run out. and then you have to leave the DryPHONE at the job in order to monitor. But you can put it you can put it anywhere you want as long as it's within range of the equipment. Okay, and then you get one final warning that says plug in and turn on all equipment you'd like to monitor. Position, it says within 30 to 40 feet. It depends on conditions. Sometimes we get much better than that. So at any rate, once you're comfortable with what you got, you can click OK. And here, it by default, it checks everything it can find. If you don't, for some reason, want to monitor a piece of equipment, you can uncheck it. But we assume everything in range you want to monitor. So when you have everything you want, then you click on the Done button. And it'll take you back here. You can see now it's enabled. Shows you we have 6 units. Now there's notifications going to 9 recipients. These are just all the recipients in your company, and you can select or deselect whoever you want to get those, and they have their own settings on their app too. And now we'll show you some of the things. There's a DryTAG offline, which means it's not communicating. We're not sure why, but there's also equipment turned off. That's different. So if it's offline, we're just not communicating. But if it's turned off, we know somebody specifically turned it off. Then you can have low chamber and high chamber RHs. You can set thresholds for these. Low temperature, high temperature. Again, you can set thresholds. All the things that you might want to know about. And then you see we have this chamber GPP slow to decrease. So we give you a duration and a threshold. So you might say, hey, let me know if in 12 hours the GPP hasn't gone down by 10%, because I might want to do something at the job and like something's not working. So this is another notification you can use using DryPHONE. And you see the chamber drying goal reached. That's the one I'll talk about with the DrySense, which actually is a product that hasn't been released quite yet. Okay, now we have additional alerts. So that was job status alerts. And you can see this blue arrow is indicating on this particular job, there's one that hasn't been viewed by this particular user. If you're in the alerts tab, there's this gear up here. And if you click on that, you can see there's also equipment alerts and job management alerts. So those, you don't have to have the DryPHONE for these alerts. But I just want to walk through what some of these different alerts are, and they would be pertinent for different people within your company. So first we'll look at the equipment alerts. And again, we can select our recipients, but these are alerts you might want to have for your maintenance person or service person or somebody like that. You can see you can receive an alert when you need to change a filter. So we'll monitor the hours of usage and then let you know it's time to change the filter. If it's not connected for a long period of time, maybe this unit is lost. Somebody might want to check its last known location. And then there's a low battery for DryTAG and DrySense to let you know, hey, it's time to change the battery. And down here, there's a system protection alert, and that lets you know if there is either a refrigeration issue or if the unit is in too high of temperatures. It'll shut itself down to protect itself. So that would be the reason why you would get a system protect alert. And reservoir full alert means there's something, either a hose is kinked, or we have something wrong with the pump, or the float switch mechanically isn't working, or something. There's some kind of issue with your pump out, and you need to investigate what's going on there. Okay, so that is equipment alerts. And now I want to show you one more thing, which would be the job management alerts. So these are alerts that would probably be for somebody in the office. So if they can get a notification if a job is completed, a job is started, or we have this job duration. So let's say you want to know if a job is taking too long. Somebody can receive notifications on that. So that is all the different alerts that we have in DryLink. Okay, so just want to point out some of the value to the contractor here. We have this free DryLink app with an amazing drying report. You can save a lot of time taking daily readings. You can do remote monitoring with alerts and billing and Xactimate. You can actually take your daily readings remotely. We have a basic sort of inventory tracking with last known location, which is free. And I'm going to talk about our more advanced inventory tracking that we're going to come out with in just a minute. And it's simple and intuitive, and especially for those who do everything in apps and on their cell phones. Okay, so now for some of the fun part, and this stuff is getting really close. So we have DrySense. This is going to be your moisture content sensor. You can't see it, but it has pins on the back that are meant to push into wet drywall. It also has an attachment that comes with it that allows you to use stainless screws to screw into wood or other materials to get moisture readings using the sensor. And it's meant to be left at the job and to transmit readings from this sensor. MSRP on this is going to be $99. Then we have DryMax BLE, which I'm going to talk about on the next slide. We're actually launching that in July. That brings Bluetooth technology to the DryMax, the original DryMax. And then we have DryTAG RH. Now this is a really interesting one. DryTAG RH gives you all that functionality of the DryTAG, but it adds temperature and RH. And so what you can do with this is you can add it to the outlet of any dehumidifier, even other brands, and you can now add those into the DryLink ecosystem. So you would attach it to the inside of the outlet grill on a dehumidifier to add it into your smart equipment. Okay, DryMax BLE, it launches in July, and we're going to have an upgrade kit for existing DryMax users. So our most popular dehumidifier will be upgradable to have Bluetooth functionality. So it will be a data logging dehumidifier, built-in Bluetooth. Of course, you have the free DryLink app. You can upgrade your existing DryMax. And here's an important one. We're going to have a 3-year warranty on the pump. All of these new DryMaxes are coming with a new design. It's completely different than anything in the industry, and it allows us to provide a 3-year warranty. Now here's the pricing information. We have the DryMax BLE is going to be MSRP $2,099, so it's about $50 more than the current one. That gives you Bluetooth functionality and the pump and the 3-year warranty. And then we have the upgrade kit for $199, where you can get the board. It's basically a display board, and there's 4 screws up here. You take them out, you have to connect a few things, and then put the 4 screws back in, and then you will have a smart dehumidifier. Okay, so hopefully you can see that the future is definitely going to be in connected products. And I talked to you about the upcoming DryLink ecosystem, including DryMax BLE, DrySense, and DryTAG RH. And specifically, I want to talk about advanced inventory tracking. So what we found out really early on is that people wanted to, what we've heard is that people want to know, that they want to audit their inventory in their warehouse is one thing they want to do. Another is to know, hey, if a call comes in, I have a new job, what inventory do I have that's not on a job that's available, and where is it? And then people want to know what inventory do I have on my trucks, and what is on a job. And then if I leave a job, if I leave behind a piece of equipment, could you let me know so I don't lose it? So we're working on an advanced inventory tracking system that should be out later this year that will hopefully incorporate all of those types of features into it. Now, there will be a charge for that. The thing that I talked about earlier, last known location, that's going to remain free. But if you want these advanced functions, there will be a charge for that. Also, I wanted to talk about some exciting things here. Integration with other software vendors. Now, I can't name specific names, but I can tell you that we are working basically with all major software vendors on integration, because what we heard is that some people say, hey, I already have a software provider that does a lot of other things for my business. Could you integrate with them? So we are doing that. This is an open platform, and we plan to work with other customers, other software vendors, and other equipment vendors. So that is actively underway. Integration with other equipment vendors. Let's say you want to use, I'll just use Delmhurst as an example. You say, I want to use a Delmhurst meter, and they have a new Bluetooth one. Well, we would like to integrate with them so that you can use that meter. We're not trying to make an exclusive system. We're trying to make a connected system with all the products reporting in. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so today we like to do a special offer for webinar registrants. Anybody that sends me an email that says free DryTAG offer, we will send you out a DryTAG, and you can download our free app and you can see what it does for yourself. So feel free to take advantage of that. And I am going to put my contact information up here and then hopefully answer any questions you may have. So here's my contact information. I'll leave that up, and I'll check in with Jenny and see if we have any questions that I can answer.
Yeah, thanks. We do have two questions that came in, and does the DryTAG have full link functionality?
You're breaking up a little bit. Does the I couldn't quite hear.
Does the DryTAG have full dry link functionality?
Yes. Yes. I mean, the DryTAG is built to work with DryLink. So yeah, it has full functionality. Yes.
And then the second question that came in is, can't I do all the DryPHONE stuff from my regular smartphone?
That's a great question. So the answer to that is no, and the reason why is those alerts, we have a special software that goes on only the DryPHONEs, a different version that allows for the job status alerts. So those can only be done on the DryPHONE. And another reason we do that is because if we had to support, we found a phone that works great and is inexpensive. If we had to try and troubleshoot every possible version of phone, it would be too cumbersome. So those are the reasons why. Now the other alerts, you can just use your normal phone to go to a job site and collect readings. The DryPHONE is only required when you're doing remote monitoring and real-time alerts. And when we get to advanced inventory tracking, that would be needed for that as well. So hopefully that answered that question. Any other questions, Jenny?
Nope, that was the last one.
All right. Okay. Well, I really want to thank everyone for listening to the webinar. And again, you feel free to email me or check out our website for more information, and look for these additional products that will be coming out in the near future, including DryMAX BLE in July. And we look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks.